Hey guys, I am here for Lovecraft Country, Season 1, Episode 1. That's what this video is going to be about. The series just started. It is starring Journey Smollett Bell, that Courtney B. Vance. Who else? I had some notes up here, y'all, and then I can't remember the other main. Wait, let me look. Jonathan Majors. That's his name. But anyway, starring them. But hey, y'all, how y'all doing? I am excited because I have not been on here doing a review in a long time. And I love doing reviews. Like, I like to discuss shows. And, like, my husband doesn't, like, watch all the shows that I watch. And this is a sci-fi, but, like, in the past type show. So, I love sci-fi thrillers, horror, stuff like that. And a lot of people that I am around, well, I ain't around a lot of people. It's COVID times. I'm around my husband. But my friends, even before that, weren't really, like, sci-fi heads like me. Like, I'm into all that stuff. Like, Octavia Butler. Well, that's, black sci-fi, but doesn't have to be, like, a, color on it. I'm just saying, like, I love all sci-fi. And this is, produced by Jordan Peele, Misha Green, and J.J. Abrams. And this is based on a book by Matt somebody. Yeah, I'm just trying to give y'all a little bit of backstory on its, but I can't find that part. It's cool. But anyway, hey, hope everybody is well. Just wanted to give a little bit of backstory. I'm excited to do this because I haven't done one in a while, and I love doing reviews. So here we go. This one is called, the first episode is called Sundown. So it starts off with the main character, Atticus Tick, or whatever is his nickname. And he is at war or whatever, or he's in a soldier or whatnot. And, he's, like, in the trenches, and it's, like, fire and, all types of stuff that happened in the war and stuff. Then it kind of flipped, and I'm like, what the heck? Because all of a sudden you see, like, UFOs and aliens and all this other stuff. I'm like, okay, so this isn't a real war thing. So I'm like, this got to be some type of dream sequence or something. Y'all, I didn't know what to expect from this show because I did not read the book that is based on, so I knew that it had sci-fi, and I just wasn't sure what to expect. So this is just me telling y'all what my brain thinking as I'm watching. So yeah, so it's like a UFO coming out of nowhere, then all of a sudden a bad bitch come out the UFO. This beautiful black goddess come down, and she looks so pretty, and then she hug him and whatnot. And then it's a monster that come up on them. And then all of a sudden, out of the monster busts out Jackie Robinson. That's Jackie Robinson, right? Yeah, Dodgers. 42. Jackie Robinson. And he was like, helps defeat the monsters, y'all. It was real random. And then it jumps to actual real time. And then it's Atticus Tick or whatever. He's on the bus. And then he's... is saying goodbye to, I think he leaving, I forgot where he leaving, somewhere south because Jim Crow, it's the 1950s, but yeah, so he on the bus, then it goes up to the front of the bus where all the white folks is, because like I said, it's the 1950s, and they were still doing that shit back then. Anyway, which ain't that far along from now, but y'all, anyway. So yeah, so we see the colors is in the back and the white folks in the front. Then they get to a certain part or town or wherever where he's going, the whole bus, and he's reading a book and stuff. So you can see that he's like, a learned Negro. And he reading something, and then the only other black woman that was on the bus or whatever, you can see all the white women getting help and everything, and then there's like this truck or something that's coming to take them to the next town or the next part of the route or whatnot, and they were like, this is the next, it wasn't a bus, it was like the back of somebody's truck and shit, and all the white folk get on. I'm thinking they about to get on too, but they was gonna get on after, but no, they just straight left them on a dirt road and stuff, and they had to walk from where they was were for the rest of their way. I'm like, dang, that's bogus. But you know, y'all, that's them times. That's them times. A lot of parts of this show, I do get upset and irritated, but that's, you can't ignore it. That's what was going on during these times. So yeah, my eye twitched. That's why. Anyway, so from there, he was talking to the lady, because they're walking. They, you know, patch your feet on the concrete or the dirt road because they're walking, like use farmland or whatnot. And turns out he's going home to the south side of Chi-Town, Chicago, and we get a glimpse of that or whatnot. And but as he's walking with this lady, you know, he was just she was asking about the book he reading and whatnot, just, you know, conversating and all that. And then he gets then it jumps to, we see Courtney B. Vance and who character name is Uncle George. He's laying in the bed with his wife or whatnot. Don't remember her name. I'll get names better as the show progresses, but honestly, this is what it is right now. And they, like, you know, in the bed, and she's like, she want to go with him or go for him next time when he go on a tour or whatnot. And I didn't know what they was talking about. I'm like, going on tour? Where is he a musician? Where is he going? What are he doing? So yeah. But he was like, no, you know, it's not safe. You know, it's not safe for me to go. So definitely not safe for a colored woman to go. And I'm like, ugh, the eye twitch again. But yeah, so, but I mean, honestly, y'all, it's not safe for women to be traveling alone on the road now. So, shit, you know? But anyway, yeah, so from there, then it jumps and we see a little girl. She's drawing some stuff or whatnot. And then we see Tick or whatnot. Well, then they start to get to doing it. Courtney B. Vance and his wife, and then it jumps to the door that she hears. She's like, "Oh, that's nasty." I'd be like, "Oh, too," because I was like, I twitched a little bit from that. So from there, we see the little girl. She go in the kitchen to get away from the sexual noises, and then we see Tick coming up the fire escape. I'm like, y'all ain't got no front door, but I guess people used to do that back in the day, just come up with fire escapes. That would scare the shit out of me. But then scared her. She's like, ah, and then he's like, ah, and then, you know, it turns out, you know, that's her cousin or whatnot, and then we find out that, you know, that's his uncle, and, you know, that's family or whatever. That's how we find that out. So from there, they go, when he was talking to that woman while he was on the road, she was asking him why he was going back home to Chicago or whatever, and he was like, he didn't, and he was talking about how he was a veteran and how he just got off the service or whatnot, and he's coming home, and he said he left to go to the service because of his father. And I'm like, dang, your father drove you all the way to go join white man's war? Ugh. So your father must have been horrible or something. And then he said he's coming back because of his father's missing. So now we see the whole show is about Tick trying to find his father or whatever. So that's the whole premise that I read beforehand and anyway and whatnot. So we find out he going to try to find his father and all the adventures that happen through that. So from there, he talking to his uncle or whatnot. And I guess they go downstairs or whatnot from their apartment. I don't know if they own that building or what, or it's just his place to work, or I don't know. And then you see in the window it's like it says a sign like "Safe Negro Travels" or whatnot. So, from what I gather, altogether, his uncle does stuff like Green Book or whatever, or Green Books. Like, you know, he maps out certain places around, you know, America and whatnot, as far as where it's safe for, you know, Negroes or black folk to go and not be harassed or like killed or murdered and shit like that or whatnot. That and he's a publisher. Put it like that. He's a book publisher, and that's one of the things that he does, because I was seeing he did a few other stuff that I was looking at. So from there, he was talking to his uncle. They're down there talking and conversating. And he's like, why didn't you tell me about, you know, my dad sooner or whatnot? He was like, at first, because his dad's been missing for like around 2 weeks, but he was like, you don't know when he went missing. He was like, well, his father is an alcoholic, so he was like, he thought he was just off on a bender or something, you know. But he got worried when his dad, his brother, whatever, his landlord came and to their house and was like, hey, homeboy ain't paid his rent. So that's when he was alarmed and was like, oh shit, something must be wrong. So then he was like, but he hasn't heard from him since in the 2 or so weeks. And then he was like, well, I heard from him. Tick said he heard from his father. And he was like, really? And he was like, yeah, he wrote me. And then he goes on to read, talking about something about his birthright and his lineage that he doesn't know about. And then the uncle has no idea what he's talking about. And then Tick goes and he's looking at this book by H.P. Lovecraft, hence the name Lovecraft Country. And he's talking about how his father was against him reading that type of stuff, like, sci-fi and all this other thing. And it's just like, dang, when you black, especially in them times, people want to escape. You don't want to always think about being black, being poor, racism, so I would have been all about escaping, to even now to this day, I'm all about escaping away from reality and, just having a break from all the pressures and all that, blah, blah, blah. So, he's saying from the letter that his father wrote him that he needs to find this place called Artem or whatever. And he was like, I don't know where that is or whatnot, because he couldn't find it. He's like, Uncle George is like, he'll look into it to try to find out more so they could try to locate, because he thinks that that's where his father may have gone. So, boom. That's what he planning on doing. So, from there, we see Tick goes to go try to find out more clues as to where his father may be. So his father is an alcoholic. So he goes to the bar, obviously. And then he goes to try to find the owner or whatnot. And then from there, it's like some dude tries to stop him or whatnot because they talking about we close for the block party. But then the guy recognized him. He's like, oh, snap, Tick. Is that you? I ain't seen you since so-and-so, so-and-so, and you can Coke bottle glasses and blah, blah, blah. And then, you could tell that, Tick, he got his grown man on. When you come back home from, you've been in the service and you a grown man and stuff, you like, hey, homie, I ain't known that. I'm a man now. But, yeah, so you can tell he's grown up and stuff. And, like, I guess, when people, it's kind of like when people go away to college and come back and they, different. Or they just grown up and they're just, they're grown and they're different and shit now. So, yeah. But he was like, yeah, anyway, where is so-and-so? I forgot the name of the owner of the bar. He was like, yeah, he out back. And he goes to go find the owner of the bar to go ask him about his daddy. Homeboy up in the back getting some dome. I was like, what now? But, clutching of the pearls, who gets up and runs away, a whole other man, which is fine. But I'm like, oh shit, y'all better be careful. It's 1950. But I mean, it's probably like, people probably know that man gay or whatever and everything. But, I'm just saying, but back in the day, that shit is scary too. Homophobia, it's very real till this day now. It's just crazy because, I mean, it's the 1950s. My mom was born in 1950s. So it's like a lot of this shit is just still so relevant to this day, and it's sad. All this intolerance and bigotry and all this, but look at who's running the country right now. But hopefully he'll be gone in November. I'll be gone to November. Okay. So anyway, he asked the bartender, "Hey, you see my daddy?" And he like, I ain't seen him in about 2 weeks. Pretty much what the what's the name said. But he was like, and then the last time he was here, it was with a white man. He was like, a white man? Was he like? He's like, yeah. Was it a pig or something? Cop. He's like, nah, ain't no pig got no clothes like that on a pig. You can't buy no clothes like that on a pig salary. So it seems to be that his father was with some wealthy white man. I'm like, what? What was your daddy doing? But anyway, parents be having whole double, triple lives. You just never know. So he was like, what? He was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah. And then they just drove off in this really, really nice car. And I was like, what? So he just did, that's all he could gather from, dude. So then from there, it jumps and we see, we see Journey Smollett. Her character enters on the screen. The block party is in full effect right now. It's some chocolate sexy lady singing and stuff, and they everybody jiving and shaking and twisting and all that stuff at the block party. And then Journey, she walk up and stuff, looking cute and stuff. And then she's standing out to the side, and the lady, she like, oh, what's the last song y'all want to hear from me before so and so come up here? And then she say shaking and jiving or something, I don't know, twisting and shout, I don't know, one of them songs. And then she was like, oh, and then apparently everybody know who this girl is, because they're like, oh my goodness, this Letitia, I forgot her last name, but it's Letty or Letitia, whatever. Hi, yeah. I'm like, okay, girl, you like famous on the block? Okay. So apparently people know who she is. She's kind of a big deal. But anyway, turns out this is homegirl's sister. So she's like, okay, girl, come on up here. And then they sing the song. And then you could tell that Journey's character is a little like rambunctious and wild. They like kind of fighting over, not fighting, but kind of like, you know, over the mic. And then eventually Journey get her own damn mic. And she's singing and stuff too. And they have a little good old time during that. And after that, we get a little bit more insight on Journey's character and her relationship with her sister. She was like, girl, what you want and all that. And then she's like, I need a place to stay, blah, 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 blah. She was like, nah, every time you come over here, you want some money. It's like, I just need a place to stay so I can get a job. And she was like, you can get a job right now over on the north side. And I'm like, damn, that's a shame. You know, the north side is the wealthy area of, not whatever, more wealthier, working for them white folks, but that's where like white people live and stuff. It's black people over here too. It's all race over here now. It's the 1950s, so it's different. Even though sadly Chicago is still very segregated, just to let y'all know and everybody know that. So she was like, I ain't going over there and being some man and for no white people. I'm like, girl, don't. And then she was like, just, I thought I could come stay with you at so-and-so house. And she was like, I don't have that house no more because of mama's funeral that you didn't. And then she's saying that she didn't come. Like, girl, you ain't going to your mama's funeral? I'm like, if I was so sister, I wouldn't even talk to her. Like, bitch, I just don't understand how somebody couldn't go to their own mother's funeral. Like, that's crazy. I mean, unless your mama was just like horrible, you ain't know or something. But she didn't go to her own mama's funeral. She was like, come on, I just need a little bit more time or something to find a job. She's like, what, you think you gonna get you a job up in one of them department stores? I was trying to work at Macy's or something, or Carson's, I don't know, Gold Blast, I don't know what was going on in the 50s in Chicago. My mama do, I don't. And she was like, yeah, I could get a job there. She was like, you just gonna strut up in there? She's like, I've been applying to get a job there for months to years, I don't know, and I ain't got a job. But I'm like, well, your sister may have another advantage, because I could tell that the dynamic of them probably was different growing up, because her sister is a full-figured, dark-skinned black woman, and Journey, as if y'all don't know who Journey Smollett is, she is a light, you know, very light, fair-skinned black woman or whatnot. And you know, colorism is very much real, and I'm sure that Journey time on the earth during that time was easier, not easy, but easier than her sisters. And she's probably favorited or treated differently because of the way she looks. And that might be a part of why she not cool, they not cool too, but whatever. So from there, her sister told her, you got 2 days, and after that, you got to get on up from my house, and that's it. She's like, oh, I can't find a job in that time. She's like, well, tough titty. And that was that. So from there, we jump back to Tick and his uncle George, and he like icing his knee, and he was like, yeah, you know, because you could see that his kneecaps are like scarred, and one's like, well, he had surgery. But then he goes on to say how he got attacked right outside of Anna, and I was like, damn, y'all, Anna is a town down in southern Illinois. I've actually been through that town. That town is still very much racist, and Anna stands for, it's a sundown town, and it stands for, well, they've made it stand for, I don't know if it was, the town was founded with this name, but the acronym, Ain't No Niggas Allowed. Sundown town. And for you people who are not familiar with what a sundown town is, it is a town that after sundown, if you are a person of color, you better not be in that town, because you are susceptible to being murdered, shot, beaten, raped, whatever the fuck they want to do to you. And that's that. And y'all, this is very much so real. I remember back in because it's like southern Illinois. I remember one time when my organization, we went down for a step show down in and we had to go through Anna, and we made sure in the daytime we went through Anna, but it was nighttime when we had to come back from the step show. But we were traveling in a group of cars, and everybody would stay together, and we already had to have a plan, like if one of us is stopped, because it's like you can't drive through this town without the fucking police stopping you or some bullshit happening. And I'm like, damn. So I just had a flashback when he mentioned Anna. I'm like, damn, that fucking place is still very much racist. I heard it's gotten a little bit better, but I still heard that it's really still fucked up. So fuck Anna. But anyway, yeah, so, but I'll finish the story real quick. So we made sure when we was driving from the step show that we were all together, because we knew somebody was going to get stopped, and you don't want to have like a stray off and somebody get stopped and somebody get fucking hurt, hangs or whatever. You just don't know what the fuck, because y'all, they rock the Confederate flags that far south in Illinois. People be associating Chicago with being progressive, but that's just up Chicago. Chicago's all the way at the top of Illinois. Southern Illinois is a whole nother fucking story, and it's Confederate flags rocked, and it's racist shit going on down there to this day. And it is a sundown town, and one of our cars was stopped, and everybody stopped all together to make sure that nothing happened to any of our fellow people. We was cool. Everybody got out, y'all. I'm here to tell. Place still racist. I mean, that was when I was in college. I was about about 09 when I was down there. But yeah, still racist. Still racist now, because I asked some people about some shit, and it's still racist. Just so y'all know. Anyway, sundown town, and this thing is called Sundown. So from there, I'm like, damn, they fucked him up. They fucked up his kneecaps. But anyway, from there, he's talking to his uncle about what else? About any information has he found out about Arden or Artem. It's supposed to be in Massachusetts, but there's no mention of Artem. It turned into Dodge County or Dage County, some other county or whatnot. It's named something else now, and it hasn't been called Artem for like several centuries or whatnot. And he was telling his Uncle George was telling Tick, like, yeah, and it's out in the middle of nowhere or whatever. He knows roughly where it is, but not exactly where this town is, because again, it's not on the map anymore. So he would need like an old ass map to let him know of where the town exactly is. So he was like, well, we can just go down there he just wants to go down there towards that way to try to see if he can go there to find his father. So from there, he was the Uncle George. He was like, well, when we go, we gonna go down there. And then he's like, oh, you gonna come with me? He was like, yeah, I'm doing my tour anyway, so we could just drive down there. So they're all, he's all gonna gear up and go down to Artem. So from there, we see they getting all together to go for the road trip. Tick sees Letitia loading up the car, and he was like, oh, hey girl. And so it turns out that they used to be cool when they was younger or whatnot, and they was in the sci-fi reading or some book club or some shit when they were younger. So they childhood friends anyway. So she going, because she was like, yeah, she gonna go down there, and they're going past the place so she can go stay with, I believe, her brother, and she gonna tag along with the road trip. So they on the road trip going through the Midwest. They say he can say goodbye to their family, and they go make sure they have all their stuff that they need. Oh wait, no, it's a scene before that. He goes to, I think, his father's place, or where his father was staying or whatnot, and you can see that the house is pretty much untouched. It's like he goes into his room or whatnot, where there's like punches. You can see that the walls were being punched in or whatnot, and books, the Count of Monte Cristo, and then he's just looking around and whatnot and having like little flashbacks, I guess, or whatever. And then he goes and he makes a call to Korea, Cause like he started on the operator, he starts saying like, "Can I get 789-343-8234?" I'm like, "Damn, where you calling?" So it's Korea, and so then he calls, and I can't stand when people do this. He called, don't say nothing, and I could hear somebody on the other line, and she's like, "Tick, is that you?" And I'm like, "You gonna say something or not? You just run up people's phone bill for no reason. I know that call wasn't cheap, and you calling Korea and not saying nothing." So he ain't saying nothing. She's like, "Tick, did you go? You went back home, didn't you?" And then she was like, "You shouldn't have." I'm like, "What the fuck you mean he shouldn't have?" I'm like, "What the hell happened? I mean, what you think gonna happen?" So it just sounded real eerie, and you know, it's just like a lot of forebodings going on. Oh, and before he went into his father's place, it's a car, fancy looking car, that was parked outside and was like tinted windows and shit that was obviously like looking at him, but we don't know who in the car. So from there, they on the road. They're going through the Midwest. They stop and get some ice cream, and we see the color section or whatnot of stores, and then we see them drive through another town where it says, "Niggas, this is sundown town. And, don't let us catch you when the sun goes down," or some shit. And I'm like, "Man, fuck y'all." And then, you know, but again, sundown towns. We already went over this. So yeah, so then they finally, Courtney B. Vance's character wants to go to this one place to go get some lunch, and he was like, "It's not that much out of the way. We can go ahead and go do that." So he was like, "All right, cool." He's like, "We can go get something to eat." All right. So they drive to this other town, and they before they go to get to Arkham or whatnot, or where they think Arkham may be. Well, no, before they drop off Letitia, they go to this. Plan to drop off Letitia, they go get something to eat. So they get there, and it's like a little soda shop or whatnot. But Tick goes on to say, he's like, this is not the same name that it used to be. And he was like, "Well, it's in the same spot, so this gotta be the spot." And he's like, "Anyway, I'm hungry, so let's just go up in here." They walk in, and it's a little white boy, teenager behind the counter, and then some fat white dude, and they pause. "Oh my God, a nigger!" I'm like, shut the fuck up. But anyway, I was like, Jesus, like, y'all, it'd be hard to watch stuff like this. Like, y'all don't even know. I mean, well, if you black, you know, but it's hard to watch stuff like that. But that's the part of the ugly history that is America. And so then the fat dude, gonna get up and leave like he was disgusted. I'm like, "Man, show fat ass down." But anyway, so the white dude, Courtney B. Vance, is like, "Hello, we want to get something to eat. We'll just seat ourselves." The little teenage white boy didn't say nothing. He looked stuck, like he want to pee on himself or something. He goes and he gets them the menus, because they asked for the menus. Journey Smollett, she go and go say, "I gotta use the bathroom." So she go use the bathroom, and they sitting down and talking. He was like, "Yeah, it's clear that they are not wanted there, but I mean, most places when you walk into, and it's white folks, they didn't want you there in this time, and then sometimes even this time they don't want you here there." But anyway, so she's going to go to the bathroom, and they're sitting there talking about how they gonna get to wherever, blah blah blah. And then Journey overhears that she walks into the bathroom. The little teenage boy, he on the phone with somebody, and he was like, "I didn't serve them, and not after what happened to Miss somebody and somebody." And she's like, "What?" So she's overhearing some shit, because homeboy calling some folks, calling them people. So I'm like, okay, this is not going to end well. So Tick is talking to the uncle, because he's just pausing and he's looking, and he's seeing how the walls are just white and everything looks so new. And then again, the store or the restaurant is called something different. So he was like, then he goes on and he starts saying like, "Oh, Uncle George, like, remember, why did they paint the White House white?" And then he was like, "Oh, because when there was a fire or something that happened, it was burned so severely, they covered everything up with white paint. That's why the White House is white." Didn't know that fun fact. But anyway, he goes on, he moves one of the tiles, and you can see that place has been burned down. So the place that was supposed to be, I believe, safe for Negroes before is no longer safe and was burned down by white folks. So whatever else Letitia heard, she run like, "We got to get our black asses out of here now." And then all of a sudden you hear sirens in this police car, and a fire truck coming, and they fucking coming after them with fucking shotguns in tow, shot out their back window, shooting at them, and they're trying to gun it out of this fucking wherever country, town they in, and get the fuck up out of there. And I'm like, are y'all serious? So Tick was like, fuck that, he busting back, and Letitia is driving and shit. So what else? Yeah, so they is gaining on them or whatnot. And I'm like, what nigga? I thought they was just gonna chase them out and leave them alone. Like, no, they was not letting up. They like really trying to track their ass down, and I guess murder them. I'm like, Jesus. So as they're coming, there's another that same car that was following Tick earlier by his father's house is coming off on the side of the road. We see coming, and then they are behind on one side of the road that's gonna join up, so like it's gonna collide. So Letitia's driving up, punching it faster. She ends up getting past the car. They're not trying to go after and we can see that their intention is not to go and hit Letitia and Tick and them. It's to block off the racist ass motherfucking people trying to get to them, and then their car flips over the racist folks and whatnot, and it looked like they had dead, and I was like, yes. So from there, let me move my tripod. I keep hitting it. But anyway, so from there, they drive off, get away with their life. Good. Then they go over to Letitia's brother's house, and they're talking, and they're saying how Letitia saved the day because she was driving and getting it, and whatnot. And then he goes and Letitia's brother has information on Artem, is it Artem, whatever, where they about to go to try to find Montrose, Tick father, Montrose. So he's saying that there's no what do you say? Oh, they look at an old map, and he said he called to try to find out from the I don't know, the library of records or some shit, to try to figure out where this Artem is and what's over there. He's like, nothing. And he shows them on the map where precisely Artem would, not precisely, but around where, within a few, I guess, probably miles, where it is. And it was like, that's out in the middle of nowhere. And then he tells them, like, y'all go into this area. This area is in this, it's in one of them sundown counties, country, whatever, counties or whatnot. So when y'all do go over there, y'all gotta be fucking careful. And then he says who's the sheriff of the county is, and he's like extra super racist. Like, people be going missing and shit and all types of shit over in that area. So y'all better be safe and be careful. So from there, it's like, okay, we still gonna go though. We gotta figure out what the fuck he wanna find out what happened to his father and homeboy brother. So from there, Tick and Uncle George are outside conversating or whatnot, and we hear Journey Smollett and her brother just arguing and cussing, and he cussing and mad and whatnot, and they going back and forth, and he's getting in her ass too about not, and he told her, he sent her, because it's apparently she that relative who always asking for money and shit, and don't be doing what they supposed to be doing, because he said that he sent her money to come back for mama's funeral, and she did not come. I don't know what the girl did with the money, but that's fucked up. So he apparently, like, shit didn't sound like it was gonna go well as far as her staying there with him either, and they just kept on arguing, and Tick tried to go and almost wanted to go in there, but Uncle George was like, hey, that's their family business, let them handle that. And I'm like, yeah, me and my brother have got into serious ass arguments. I mean, he didn't put his hands on me like that, but not as adults, but that's just, let that go. If you hear him slap her or punch in the eye or nothing, let them talk that shit out. That's between them. But anyway, so that was going on, and while they were there, outside they were talking, and Tick was just talking to his uncle, like, man, like, Dad is, y'all grew up in the same house, but you guys are just so different. He was like, well, I guess their house environment wasn't good either, because he goes and kind of says, like, oh, your dad was smaller than I was, and he was the youngest, so he took the bun of it. So I don't know if their father or whoever was abusive or something. It implies that. So and he was like, he was small, and and I should have did more to protect him, but I didn't. And then Tick goes to say like, well, I was small and shit too, and pretty much the same, and you didn't do shit to protect me. Do you wish you would have did something to protect me? And I was like, damn, burn. But anyway, so from there, so it kind of got a little heated, but they was cool and whatever. So it's the next day. They're leaving or whatnot, packing up to leave. I mean, they was only there for the night anyway. And it's clear that Letitia is not going to be staying there, so she just hop on in the car, and she quiet and silent. She just get in the car, and she just gonna go on this adventure with them because she ain't got nowhere else to go anyway. So she burnt up bridges with her family and not going to her mom's funeral, which is a shame. So from there, they are driving to try to find, let me see. Hold on, y'all. Let me look at my notes. Oh, I forgot to say, when they were in that whole car chase, the fancy car that caused the rest of the people to flip over, we actually see who was in the car. Steps out like some very dapper, well-dressed white woman. So this isn't the white man that the bartender in Chicago seen or whatnot, but it seems like, I mean, you putting, two and two together, but so she probably had something to do with the father or whatever, when the father was going or whatever. So she was well-dressed, green-eyed lady, step out of the car, and she just like looking, staring at the car because they stopped too, and they looked, and then Tick was like, just drive, because I say drive too. I see any white person at that point, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. So yeah, but anyway, fast forward back to, they're driving around looking for Artem or whatever, and they're in that county and they've been driving down different roads trying to drive and find this bridge with some type of a bridge or water or something, and they're not seeing this bridge that they're supposed to be looking for, but Tick is determined to find this bridge, because he thinks he's trying to find his father. And they were like, we gotta hurry up and get the fuck from over here because it's getting late, and we've been driving around all day, and again, this is sundown town or county or whatnot, so we gotta get to going. And he was like, just pull up the car, I want to just get out and I want to look on the roads because the bridge or whatever could be covered up, and that's why we possibly can't see it just by driving. So he wants to get out and walk. I'm like, why you had that idea earlier? Shoot, it's almost sundown at this point. Shit, ain't nobody trying to die so you can find this bridge. Better come back tomorrow. But so as he's looking, Letitia get out the car too, and he's like, what you doing? She's like, I'm gonna help you look, shit, so we can hurry up, get the fuck out of here. As they're doing that, we see the sheriff that they were warned about pulling up or whatnot, and he's telling them to come on and walk back and come around, and then whoever in the car to come out to the back of the car. And then he's like, what y'all doing here? He's like, we just passing through. We from, Illinois, Chicago, whatever. We just passing by. We stopped for a bathroom break or whatnot, and we about to be on our way. He was like, well, y'all, this is a sundown town. And then he goes on to explain what a sundown town is, which I've already explained. And he was like, well, the sun sets around 7:09 today, so he was like, okay, well, we'll just go ahead and keep making our way south. He was like, I wouldn't recommend that because you ain't gonna make it out my county in time. And then I would have, because he was like, if I catch y'all out here, he's like, had this event after sundown and I caught y'all out here using the bathroom or whatever like some animals, I would have had to hang all of y'all from a tree. I would have, oh Jesus Lord, I'm just happy I wasn't born in these times because my whole mouth would have got me in a lot of trouble. But anyway, so he was like, well, we'll go ahead and we'll head north then. And I'm like, you just very casually threaten people's lives to hang them. That is just so sick to me. But anyway, just disgusting. And again, it's 1950, so people who lived and acted like that are still alive to this fucking day. Okay? Because like I said, my mom was born 1951. So a lot of motherfuckers still around here. That's why we having all these problems we having now. But anyway, I'm trying to stick to the subject, but it's heavy and it's a lot going on because I like this show. It's good. I love the sci-fi of it, but it's still heavy on the part of talking about racial, injustice and all that, and like a woman's place, and all types of shit. So it does go and touch on a lot of things, which is good. Gets you thinking, gets you talking. It's cool. But I like the sci-fi of it, and that's pretty much what. If there was not a sci-fi element to this, I probably would not watch it, because I just don't have time for all that shit without some type of other escape right now. But yeah. So they said they're gonna go ahead and go south. So he's like, wait, no, he said they're gonna go north. He's like, yeah, you'll probably make it out if you head north. I'm like, well, if you want them to hurry up and get the fuck out your town, as you say, why don't you let them get in the fucking car and turn around and go? And then Tick stopped. He was like, wait, are U-turns allowed in this county? And he was like, oh, you a smart nigga, ain't you? And then he was like, oh, usually it would be a violation in my town, but if you ask me nicely, I'll let you go ahead and do that U-turn and get on out of here. And he was like, please, can we get it? He was like, oh, you can ask nicer than that. But he say pretty please, some shit, and can the smart nigga make a U-turn? Some shit he had him say. I'm like, see, right then and there, I would have just attacked him. But anyway, in those times, and then so he went ahead and said what the motherfucker wanted him to say, and I was like, ugh, disgusting. So they go on and they go to commence to trying to get the fuck out of this man's county, so they don't get stops, and who knows, because he already said that he want to hang them from trees and shit. So they drive, and then all of a sudden this motherfucker is coming up from behind the road and shit, and you can see the sun is about to go down. I'm like, ooh, y'all better hit the hit. And he was like, and don't be, he's like, we can't speed and can't drive fast, and the speed limit's only 25. So he's really cutting it close, and it was like, we got like 30 seconds, and they trying to get past the fucking they trying to get past the train tracks that I guess divides the town, or what, the town lines or whatnot. So they driving, and he coming behind them, and then he starts to commence to bumping and hitting the back of their fucking vehicle. I'm like, are you fucking serious? But yes, he's very much racist and very much serious with his racist shit. So after all that fuck shit, they actually make it across the lines. But then as soon as they get past that, it's like the car's cutting off. So I was like, he planned that shit on purpose, because he was on some fuck shit from jump. So squad cars or whatever are sitting out there too. So they get them out the car, walk them into the woods, and they talking about it was some type of burglary or some type of shit, and a stolen car happened a night or so before, and it was like 3 individuals. Who knows if this was true or not? They probably could have been making that shit talking about they fit the description. I'm like, really? A middle-aged black man, a young black man, and a young black woman is out here committing robbing and stealing cars and robbing folks. They was like, then it was like, go ahead and tell us it's mistaken identity and blah 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 blah, just straight bullshit. So they had them get all up on the ground in the middle of the fucking forest and shit, or the woods. I said forest, in the fucking middle of the woods and shit. And I'm like, oh my god. I mean, I know they ain't gonna kill him right now because it's episode 1, but I'm like, this is so fucking stupid. It just made me so mad. I want to get up and bust them in their face. So yeah, so they just interrogating them on some dumb shit, and then all of a sudden, from what I hear, like a it sounded like turkeys or something. I was like, what the fuck is that? Then even the white dude was like, it sounded like wolves. And he's like, that might be wolves. He's like, that don't sound like no damn wolves. I promise you, to me, it sounded like turkeys. I was like, what the fuck is that? And then out of nowhere, it's become, and then some things just come out of darkness and knock homeboy arm off. I was like, god damn, what's that? So all of a sudden they're like, shit, and we just see blood. But they killing the white folks, which is great. So I'm like, yeah, kill them racist bitches. But I'm like, wait, are these like for the people monsters? I'm like, y'all should probably run too, because they probably kill anybody. So yeah, everybody get the fuck up, run. So they're running, and they're running. And then they go and find this cabin or whatnot, and Letitia and Tick do, and the fucking police officer getting fucked up, and I think it's on like 2 left or whatnot. And then Uncle George, he got them bad kneecaps, so he fell and shit. He just lay on the ground like shit. Oh my god! But they didn't attack him. They attacked the police officer shit first. So, but he's still sitting on the ground like, oh my Jesus. I'm like, oh no, Unc, get up. I know your knee's bad. My knee's bad too, but you better crawl or something. And then it was some bullshit, y'all, because they get in the thing and then the police beating on the door talking about some let us in. I'm like, you just tried to fucking kill them. Now you want somebody to let you in the fuck? I wouldn't have opened that motherfucking door, but they blew through the door. So I'm like, okay, just to avoid them shooting through the door and to come in and shoot them, I guess you should open the door. Then they get in the motherfucking thing and giving orders and shit, talking about some. Put the thing on the door. I was like, nah, my uncle might be out there. It's like, you gotta put the table and barricade the doors and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? So then they doing that, and then that you still hear the noises and the murdering happen of the other. He's like, I just lost 4 of my men, and then what's the name? He was like, I gotta go back out there for my uncle. He's like, no, you might lead those motherfuckers back to us. And then he's like, well, what, you gonna shoot me or you gonna let me go out? Because if you shoot me, they gonna hear that shit too and come back for that ass. So she goes in. I guess Letitia's a better runner because he said he sends her out. I guess she drive or she's a better driver or something. And he sends her ass to go out and sprint and to go get the car and come back and get them. And because at first he was then the police talking about some give me that what do you say, give me that flashlight or give me something, because they were saying it seems like the light was kind of, I don't know if they at that point it seemed like the light made them get away because they had the flashlight the whole way running to the cabin and they didn't get touched. So it seemed like they were like impervious. No, they were sensitive to light or some shit or whatever. It don't kill them, but it makes them run and shit. So Letitia go, and then he was like, give us that flashlight or whatever. Like he just like giving orders and shit. They talking about some how we know, because they were both, I think, gonna leave or something. I forgot. He's like, how do we know that you won't come back or leave us? And I'm like, you, for one, you was about to kill me in the motherfucking woods, calling me all types of niggas and shit. Now you want somebody to save you? Bitch, please. But anyway, so from there, we, Letitia go, and she hitting him. Reminded me of my old sprinting days. Like, she's in track. She was hitting it. Running to get to that car to come drive back. Meanwhile, Uncle George is finally then got up and made his way into the cabin or whatnot. And then he in the cabin, he winded and shit. And he like creatures of the night. He says a thing from Wes Craven's Dracula, and he's something about the creatures of the night. What sweet sounds they make or some shit. And then they were talking about how, again, the light, we need to get the light. And he was like, if they were coming out vampires light. So they seem to have that type of correlation. So Letitia coming back with the motherfucking car and shit. When she get in the car, she about to come back with the car. Then one of the monster things is like, ah! And it's that. And it looks like some type of man slash. It's like it stands on one 2 legs and has arms and shit. And it seems like and it's got a big swole head. And then it's got like all up his face. It's got like a whole bunch of different eyeballs. And I'm like all the way back to his back, and it was like blinking and shit. I was like, oh, that thing, and it looked all slimy. That big old mouth. It was like, ah, and it was gross. And then I was like, oh shit, girl, drive, hit that motherfucker. So it had bust the window and was trying to come to her, and then she like flashed the lights on it, and then those motherfuckers are like little giant mold things, because it jumped down into the ground and tunneled down into the ground. I'm like, oh shit, them things can tunnel through the ground. That's crazy. So she get through and she drive, and she get to the cabin and she honking to get the fuck out the way, because she about to come crash through that bitch, because she ain't getting out the car. I wouldn't get out the car either. And then before she gets there to crash through the thing, as she's driving back, it jumps back to them, and then we see the sheriff and shit. He started because he was the first one who got his arm bit off, and all of a sudden he twitching and acting weird and shit. And I was like, oh hell no, is he about to? Because they said like vampires. I'm like, oh shit, is he turning into one of those things? And indeed he was, and he started like switching his face, his morph, and like ah. And then Courtney B. Vance was like, hey man, you need to shoot this motherfucker. And then deputy was like, no, I can't shoot. He was like, hey, you better kill him. And before he changed completely, and he's like, oh no. And then the fucking sheriff jumped on the deputy. I'm like, you should have shot him when you had your chance, motherfucker. Because he rips his fucking neck out and shit. And I was like, oh damn. But I'm like, y'all better hurry up because that thing gonna turn on y'all. But then that's when Letitia drives through and hits it with the car, hits the sheriff with the car. So I was like, that is scary as fuck. And then she come out of the car and they pull, they see that Uncle George is like, I guess he fell after the crash and he might got hit with something. So they try to lift him up into the car or whatnot. And then they have their lights, their flares, and that's enough lights to keep these big ass monsters at bay, because you see them coming in. It's a lot of motherfuckers. And so I'm like, oh, so that could explain why people are missing. They're probably not missing. They probably these motherfucking creature things. So they got the flares all up and around because they were already saying, like, we just need to make it to sunlight because we didn't see shit in these woods earlier. And we already know that the light, they're scared of the light. So they sitting there and the monsters are trying to, like, come at them with the, even with the flares. They're just all at bay and all that. So I'm like, ugh. So all of a sudden we hear like a burr, 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 burr. It's like a, I don't know, it's like a call, and I'm like, who the fuck is that? So I thought somebody was gonna come out of nowhere, but they didn't. And all of a sudden all the monsters just start going away, and I'm like, oh, okay, good, bet. So they because the sun's about to go up, so I guess that's the call. I'm like, they can't see that the sun about to come up. But anyway, so they all left, and they I guess the car is totaled at this point. So, and then at this point, it jumps and it says that they're finally in Artem or whatnot. And they're walking. They find a goddamn bridge. And then as they're walking, was supposed to be in the middle of nowhere, we see this big, like, gigantic manor or castle-looking house and shit. And they're walking up to it looking all bloody and crazy and shit. And they come in, and you see outside of the house is that same fucking car that's been following them the whole way along. And then they go and they knock on the door. And then some white dude answered the door. He has green eyes as well. So I'm thinking, like, either they related or they some type of monster things or some type of changeling things that and then your eyes turn green or something. I don't know. But he was in human form at this point. He don't have to be a monster just because they both had green eyes. Could be a coincidence. Could not be. I don't know. But he was like, oh, hello, Atticus. We've been expecting. Oh, no, he said, we've been expecting you. Welcome home. And I'm like, welcome home? And I was like, what the fuck? And then it goes off, y'all. And that's the first episode of Lovecraft Country, Season 1, Episode 1. I know that was long, but a lot happened, y'all. And I wanted to talk about a lot of stuff. I hope I kept you entertained the whole time. I don't know. Do y'all think his father's going to be there? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen next week. I did not look at the preview for next. I'm about to look at it as soon as I get off of this computer right now. Yeah, so it seems interesting. I was interested. It seems interesting if you're into sci-fi and all that. I mean, even if you, like, don't want to constantly watch stuff about, like, you know, racial injustice and racism, I feel like I'm more interested in the story that's the sci-fi part of it. And it seems like it's really interesting, especially to see it, like, in a different time or whatnot. So I liked it. And this is my first impression of it. I haven't been doing any reviews of any shows because there ain't that many shows out right now. And a lot of shows that haven't come back. But I will be continuing to review this show, so be on the lookout for it. It will be on time next week. I didn't know when it came out, and then I just kind of saw some stuff online, and I was like, ooh, I should look at that and check it out. And I did, and I'm happy I did. I like it. I will be reviewing it, so be on the lookout for that. I hope everybody's being safe, being well, and having a good day. Whew. I'm tired, y'all. I'm about to go. Actually, no, I'm about to go cook dinner. But I will see y'all later. Have a good one. Love you, love you, love you. Peace. Bye. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to your girl. I see a lot of y'all watch my reviews and not subscribing. Go ahead. It's absolutely free. Go ahead and hit that like button as well. All right. Peace.